Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, everyone. So nice to see everyone. Thank you. Welcome. Hey, Muriel. Thank you for joining us. Hi, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I don't know which one it is, but I'm going to find out in a minute. Quick introduction. I am Lux Narayan. I'm a co-founder and the CEO here at StreamAlive. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to be respectful of your time, and I've told you that we will show you everything we have by in the next 30 minutes, and we're going to attempt to do exactly that, which means the pace is going to be very, very fast. And really, my objective at the end of this is for you to, if you haven't used StreamAlive, start using it. If you have used it, use it in different ways. So first things first, can you all please type in the chat as to where you are joining us from? Type your city in the chat. And I'm on PowerPoint right now. This is PowerPoint online, and you can see you folks are writing my slide in real time. Allows me to literally fly around the world. Hey, Tina, thank you for joining us. It's 49 in Jersey, where you're joining from. Paula is joining us from North Dakota, where it's even colder. Hey, Paula, good morning to you. And a very good afternoon to our friends across the pond. So if I wanted to fly in there and know exactly what I'm talking about, we got people in the UK. We got people, Muriel is joining us from Grandola in Portugal. Wow, that sounds beautiful. Nice. And it's a nice 71 Fahrenheit there. I mean, we spend so much time acknowledging people. Where are you joining from? What's the time over there? What's the weather? And why can't we do it in a better way? And in fact, an even better way would be to make the world a globe as it truly is and fly around the globe and acknowledge people in different places, including late in the evening for Duncan. Thank you so much for joining us, Duncan. It's part of our team. And we've got people in Africa. Where is this? In Kenya? Hey, Irene, thank you so much for joining us. Beautiful. This is fantastic. I love seeing multiple continents mapped out. We got Africa, we got Europe, we got Asia, we got North America. And I think we're just missing Australia and South America at this point. But at some point, we'll map all the continents in one session. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And welcome to the session. Lots of ground to cover. So I just want to give you a bit of, keep those responses coming in. Let me make it back to one of the other visualizations. Let's try pencil this time. That looks cool too. Or let's try the comic map. And you can see I can literally pan, zoom, do whatever I want, and have a lot of fun with this, right? So I'm going to show you StreamAlive inside of PowerPoint, since that is the main thing for the agenda for today. But I do want to show you the web application as well, if some of you are not familiar with it. So the best way to know if that's the case is to actually ask you. But first, my objective today is to try and convince all of you to think a lot more proactively about unmuting your audience, which is our mission. We think sessions like this should not be monologues, they should be dialogues. In fact, I would say till now I've been listening to where you're joining from, what the time, what the temperature is, what the weather is, and it's like a conversation, right? So how do you have a conversation when you have more than 10 people in the room, exactly like we're doing right now? And that's our philosophy, turn presentations into conversations. So I want you to guide what I'm going to be doing today. So I would love for you to type a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or 3,4 if you've used our web application and our Zoom application, but 1 if you've never seen StreamAlive in action. 2, if you've seen it as an audience, but never as a presenter. And you folks get it. Yeah. So 3 if you only used our web application, 3 and 4 if you used our Zoom app as well. And some of you are testing our beta, our PowerPoint add-in. A few of you have used our Zoom applications. I won't spend too much time on that, but I'll just touch upon it. Oh, wow, lots of you. That's great. And quite a few of you have never seen it in action. And thank you so much again for joining us. And hopefully I convince you about a better way to run presentations that are more conversations and less monologues. Some of you have seen it as an audience, Paula and Irene, but never as a presenter. And I hope you will use it as a presenter after this. So since some of you have never seen it in action, I do want to mention one very quick thing. So what you're seeing here is something that is in public beta right now. It's a PowerPoint add-in, which gets all of the StreamAlive functionality into PowerPoint. And the way to do that is very simply to go to appsource.microsoft.com, search for the StreamAlive add-in, and then add it. And I'll show you towards the end of the session on how you add it into PowerPoint, right? So what that does is get all of StreamAlive's functionality into PowerPoint as you're seeing over here. So quick thing over here, also lay of the land. As you can see, the bad news is I've got 16 slides. The good news is we finished 2 of those slides. The other good news is every odd slide, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 are listening slides. Just to make it easy, I've made it that way. And slides 2, 4, 6, 8 are where I will be speaking, but I will be speaking very, very, very little. So I promise you it's going to be a lot more conversation. I see there are some questions coming up. So quick request, if you have any questions, we will do it a couple of times during the session. Just type questions in the chat. And thank you for typing the question mark in the beginning of it to identify it as a question. But StreamAlive's AI does not need that. If it smells like a question, it is a question. So just type your questions as you humanly would in the chat, and we will jump to it every once in a while and go through it. So I'll go through the questions in a little bit. Yeah. Reason we exist, PowerPoint has been around for 38 years. And for 38 years, we've been having a lot of one-way presentations, and that's really what we want to change. I keep saying PowerPoint over here, but again, I want to understand what you use the most. So folks, do me a favor and just type which of these you use. I'm sure it is more than one in a lot of cases. So if you use PowerPoint and Keynote, just type 1, 2 in the chat. So I get a sense of what people are using. Oh, you got Figma users in the house as well. Fantastic. Interesting. Paula, okay. Wow. And gosh, I keep seeing this increasing every time, the number of people using Canva. Just listening to an interview by the founder, over 100 million people now create presentations on Canva. That's fantastic. Look at that, neck to neck with PowerPoint. We don't have many Mac fans in the house, I see, so not much of Keynote. There's a bit of Google Slides, and Gamma is another thing we see increasing over here. So PowerPoint, our add-in only works with PowerPoint at this point. The next thing we're going to make it work on is Gamma. And after that, we're going to explore Canva. The reason we're not doing Google Slides, although it's important, is because Google Slides does not allow embeds of HTML objects like what you're doing over here. And therefore, what we're showing you here in PowerPoint, ironically, is not possible in a web-based platform like Google Slides right now. Hopefully, that will change in the future. But what you're seeing now is purely on PowerPoint. Yeah. Prezi, oh my gosh, I'm a big Prezi fan. So I absolutely love Prezi. Once we do Gamma, we might be able to do embeds on Prezi as well. No promises there, but we could explore it down the line. Lots of talk about AI making slides, making automated slides, beautiful slides, lots of content, automated design, but we think it doesn't solve the entire problem. And I want to talk about that problem in a little bit. But first, I just want to look at any questions that might have come in up to this point. So like I said, just put your questions in the chat and StreamAlive will automatically pull it up. So Peter had a question, what would other be? I think, Peter, that was the presentations platform, and we had Prezi come out there. So there you have your answers. I'm going to tick that as answered. Only with Microsoft and Windows? Absolutely not. I'm using this on Mac, and only with Microsoft PowerPoint, though, if that was your question, Muriel. And if not, just either unmute yourself if that's possible, or just raise your hand and we'll look at it. We'll have 5 minutes at the end if you want to elaborate, but it works with Mac, it works with Windows, it's a browser-based solution at this point. And the add-in works with both ecosystems. Does this smell like a question? I assume this is Peter testing whether and making fun of my thing about questions smelling, but yes, it smells like a question. And now I'm going to move this to unanswered. So if you folks put any more questions in the chat at any point, it will come up when I revisit this slide later, and we will look at questions one more time. Right? Only reason I'm rushing through this is because I promised you that we'll wrap up everything in 30 minutes, and I intend to stick to my word. Most presentations are one-way monologues. Hopefully you've seen that this one is not. It is not one where you go talk. But rather than be presumptuous about monologues, I would love to know your opinion. So if I were to ask you in one word, What is the first word? Don't overthink this, please. What is the first word that comes to your mind when I say, in a word, most monologues are dash? What's the first word that comes to your mouth? Just put it in the chat. Tiring, boring. Oh my God. Okay. Shakespearean. Oh gosh, I love that. Exhausting, tiring, boring, Shakespearean, self-centered. Yes, absolutely, right? I mean, this is me listening to you all talk in real time, which is beautiful. It's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. And I couldn't agree more. Oh gosh, I need to take a screenshot of this. This is beautiful. This is perfect. I'm going to use this in our pitch text. Thank you so much for writing my slide for me. But I can have a lot of fun with this as well. If I say, okay, folks, I want us to create an image for us to remember how bad monologues are. I can press this button over here and turn all your responses into an image in real time, which is, I mean, just riffing with it. I can promise you that I've never had this bunch of responses before. So this image has probably never been created in history. I'm curious to see what comes up. Okay, that looks like someone who doesn't like a monologue. So you can have a little bit of fun with this. This is an image that captures the responses that we just did. But again, this is a listening slide. This is written by you, and this is a word cloud feature that we have here in StreamAlive. And I couldn't agree more, because I think it needs to be a lot more conversations, presenters going listen, talk, listen, talk. And the way to do that, if you have 3 people in the room, yeah, sure, everyone can unmute themselves like it says in my t-shirt. If you want to unmute the audience, the way to do that is to use AI to turn chat into interactions. And you've seen a few interactions. I promise to show you a few more, and I'm going to do it customized for a topic that one of you is going to give me. So again, please trust me, there is a reason for this question. I would love for you to share a childhood or a current hobby. I'm going to pick one of these hobbies and simulate an entire live session on StreamAlive. We're going to create interactions for that. The harp, oh my gosh, we never had the harp before. Muriel, I hope your answer gets picked, because I would love to see what StreamAlive comes up with for the harp. But folks, please keep those answers coming. I should have done the visualization for this slide. It's a lot more pretty when you see hobbies visualized. So I'm going to do it for this slide as well, heads up. Keep the answers coming. Golf, dance, reading, astronomy. But you can see this, by the way, is inspired by my co-founder's love for Tetris, where everything falls down like Tetris tiles and then disappears after a while. And that whoosh sound is a thing disappearing in the bottom. It sounds like a door slamming sometimes. We need to change that sound. But we're moving it from, we ask people to put answers in the chat and then we ignore it. Over here, even if your answer is here on my screen only for about 3 to 5 seconds, it's still moving from I ignore you to I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you. And that's the essence of conversation, right? So beautiful answers here. I'm going to see if I can spin a wheel with all your, so everybody who responded, your answers, your names are automatically populated into a spinner over here. This is one of our most popular features. And I'm going to spin the spinner because I do not want to be biased. And Irene talked about dance. So we are going to simulate a session on dance, right? So Irene, we're going to pick your topic and do something on, I'm going to pretend to be a dance instructor on Zoom, which is an absolute lie. I can't dance to save my life, and I can't instruct to save my life either, but we will try and do that and see how that looks. Yeah. So quick introduction, why we started StreamAlive. Very, very briefly, during the pandemic, I went on a book writing journey. There was, going through a personal family emergency at that time, took some time off. And this was my labor of love. It's a book called Name, Place, Animal Thing, which encourages people to give better answers when asked, so what do you do? I'm not here to pitch the book, but the reason I bring up the book is I didn't know anything about writing a book, and therefore attended about 6 online lectures or courses to learn how to write, edit, and market a book. And these were delivered over 56 live sessions, mostly on Zoom, some on Google Meet, some on Facebook Live, and at least one on YouTube Live. Class sizes from 11 to 1,200 people. And one of the 3 things on the right-hand side would happen. The first, the presenter would keep going, talk, 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 talk. People just wait for the recording, watch it at 1.5 times the speed because, hey, what's the difference? Second, The presenter asks a question. Hey, where's everybody joining from? Put it in the chat. 98 people enthusiastically type their cities. And then the presenter says, oh, we got Muriel in Portugal, we got Peter in Reading, and I'm going to ignore the remaining 96 people who put an answer out there in the chat, which is not normal. You don't ask people a question and ignore their responses, but we do that. And the third, in my opinion, the worst, self-sabotaging one, they would encourage people if you're in a physical room, it's different, but this is on a Zoom or a Google Meet or one of those live sessions, they encourage people to pull out their phones, scan a QR code, and go out there to type a response. Now, guess what happens when you encourage people to pull out their phones? Here's my phone. Those are the notifications I have on my phone right now. 4 of them are screaming for my attention. So you just gave me permission to open these things, look at them, and get distracted from seeing you and whatever beautiful things you have to teach. Why would we sabotage our own sessions? Why not keep people in session and use what is right under their noses, which is chat? So the whole idea became Google, Zoom, Teams, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, everything has chat. Can we visualize the chat to give the audience a collective voice? And that became the founding principle behind what we do at StreamAlive. Right? Just want to know, I ran a ad hoc thing over here. Let's skip this. Quick thing on our beliefs. So very, very obviously, we want to stop one-way presentations. And the way to do that is to unmute the audience. And how do you unmute an audience when it's a big audience of more than 10 people? You make the chat stream alive, and we support all those platforms and some more than there. So every Tuesday, we do the session on Zoom, and every Thursday on Teams. And what I want to do now is tell you the other 2 parts of StreamAlive that we didn't get to. I showed you increase engagement, which is really very simple. Ask people questions and acknowledge their answers. That's all there is to it. And use it, visualize it in beautiful, interesting, fun, gamified ways, right? But how do you plan for that? And we're going to plan for a session on dance. And how do you analyze engagement? And I'm going to show you that as well very, very quickly, right? Lots of ground to cover. So I'm just going to give you a quick lay of the land. I'm going to jump on to StreamAlive's web application. So we've had a web application for a few years. Thousands of people use it every month, and we would love for you to use it if you don't already. So everything you've seen so far can be done in the web application as well. In fact, that's how I used to run it earlier, where this is my webinar. I would have interactions, and I would have had slides, an interaction, and a slide. I had imported these slides from PowerPoint. The number one request we got from people was, hey, I don't want to get my PowerPoint into StreamAlive. Can you get StreamAlive into my PowerPoint? And that's kind of what I've been demoing to you right now, which is so far rather, which is StreamAlive inside of PowerPoint. But coming back here, I'm going to go back to my home screen. And I am, Peter, what kind of dance should we do this on?
Ballet.
All right. I don't know if that's what she intended, but we shall go with a ballet dance workshop. And who's the audience?
Footballers.
Footballers. Peter is part of the StreamAlive team. I don't know why he's trying to sabotage our application by making it really, really small.
I'm just trying to break it. I'm stress testing the AI.
That's cool.
All right, let's have some fun. We're teaching ballet dance, running a ballet dance workshop on Zoom or Teams or YouTube for footballers. And we want some help coming up with interesting questions to ask these footballers. And it says, hey, let's ask them, which city or country have you visited that has a rich dance culture? In a word, what do you hope to gain from this workshop? Describe in a sentence how you think ballet could enhance your performance on the field. Pretty cool question. Okay. So in the interest of time, what I'm going to do right now is select all these listening slides, add them into my presentation. I've got a 15-slide deck. None of them are talking slides. If I had a talking slide, I could just import it, or I could get this entire interaction into PowerPoint, like I mentioned to you. But I'm just going to put a random slide over here just to show you that I can go from a talk to listen as I want, right? And at this point, I could simply connect this into a Zoom session. I'm not going to do it right now because I already have StreamAlive connected over here. And in the end of the session, I will disconnect and show you how I connected it, and it took me all of 10 seconds, right? But at this point, I want to see what this session looks like. So we used AI to generate the interactions. Now we're going to use AI to preview and simulate a live session. I love this because it literally shows you what a session can look like. So it says, hey, this is the presenter screen. I could also open what we call simulated platform view, which is like, this is what it looks like in Zoom. People type in the chat, it shows up on the presenter screen, like you've been doing so far. How does it work on Teams? Exactly the same. People type in the Teams chat, it shows up on the presenter screen. How does it work on YouTube? Exactly the same. People type on YouTube, the presenter is sharing their screen, you get the idea. Google Meet, all of these platforms. In person, only time when we encourage people to actually pull out a QR code and get into a chat and participate. So StreamAlive supports that as well. But coming back here, imagine, I won't have time to go through all the interactions, so I strongly encourage you to, I'm just going to pull that up over here. You can do everything I'm doing today by simply going to streamalive.com, signing up for a free account, and playing around with it. For up to 10 people in your audience, it's absolutely free. So please, I encourage you to do that if you haven't already, because all these things that I'm doing right now, including the simulation with the AI, everything can be done with a free account, right? So imagine I'm asking people this question, they come up with things, I come up with a static slide. I don't know why I have a thing slide in the middle of a ballet workshop for this, but what do you hope to gain from this workshop? Hey, footballers, tell me why you're coming for this workshop. They want to get technique and grace and balance and expression, and I get all these beautiful answers. Then I ask them a longer nuanced question, like in a sentence, how do you think ballet techniques could enhance your performance in the field? I'm very curious to see what comes up. Ballet's emphasis on posture and core strength can boost my stability during dynamic plays. I can reduce injury risk during intense activity. And oh my God, this is fantastic, but I've got an entire football team giving me so many responses. I don't have time to read all of them. So I'm going to use my favorite feature in StreamAlive, which is the summary. And imagine people gave you these answers and you just pressed a button out there and summarized an entire audience. Think about it. So far, we go to audiences and say, guys, raise your hands if you agree, yes or no. Or we treat them like children. Or we say, here's a poll. Do you like A, B, or C? Why can't we ask them open-ended questions, get open-ended responses in real time and summarize it and say, all right, footballers, you talked about core strength, performance, mental focus, timing, holistic. A bunch of you said this. There's no alternative voices. You all seem to agree with each other. Great teamwork, and so on, right? So I can summarize an entire audience in real time. Lots of interactions. I could run a poll. We have a lot of visualizations for sentence polls. So sentence polls, word polls, icebreakers, option polls, spinners, and quizzes. We won't have time to go through all of them, but I hope you do it on your own time and play around with StreamAlive, including our Kahoot-like quiz features that are powered by chat, and our spinners, and automatic question detection, and so on and so forth. It also identifies links from the chat, right? And at the end of a session, you get a beautiful report. This is a workshop I did around the theme of my book at the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad about a little less than a month ago. I had 48 people. Look at the numbers there, 770 comments, 54 comments a minute, almost a comment a second at peak, because all those colored bands are interactions I ran. I ran about 22 different interactions. And you can see the chat spiking up each time I did one of those things. I asked people where they're joining from. We actually played a game. We went through a whole bunch of things. I asked them a lot of things. And they had a ton of questions. They shared a bunch of links. And at the end of it, StreamAlive generated all these beautiful images that I could post on LinkedIn, which I did, or download and create a carousel out of and things, just to remind me how beautiful my session was and help me make a better session for next time around. Right? So all of these, again, including the reports, are things you can do with a free account. So I strongly, strongly encourage you to do that. We talked about the Zoom application. Just want to touch upon that for the few folks who are not familiar, who are not used, the many folks actually who not used StreamAlive, and the few who used our web app but not the Zoom app. Inside of Zoom, we also have an application which can let you run StreamAlive interactions inside Zoom very easily and very quickly. And thank you. I'm glad you used the screenshots. That's fantastic. So inside the Zoom app marketplace, if you go, there are about 3,000 apps. How do you find the StreamAlive app? Simply type StreamAlive. Or I'm very thrilled about this, so permit me a little bit of horn tooting over here. If you look at their AI apps, StreamAlive is the #1 AI app on the Zoom marketplace. It is also the #1 employee engagement app. And it's the #1 app for education, which is really our sweet spot. Education, training, learning and development, employee engagement, all hands, town halls, communities, and using AI. A lot of the AI we see nowadays is for speaking, for writing, for talking. Our AI is for listening, for hearing, and for shaping the human voice and giving a shape to what people are saying in real time. So it's a bit of a different implementation. And again, please use it if you haven't already. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you used it, and I hope you discovered some new things today that you haven't done before. I'm just going to, so we talked about this. I'm just going to make sure I have, for those of you, I think someone said they use Gamma, something coming up with Gamma very soon where you can run a StreamAlive interaction inside of Gamma as well. Down the line, we will have workshops on StreamAlive in Gamma where you can run an entire simulation or an interaction inside a Gamma slide too, and hopefully down the line for Canva as well, right? Perfect. Peter, anything that I've not covered? I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, AI using AI to create.
Oh yes, thank
interactions
you.
from
Absolutely.
slides.
I knew there was something else forgot. I forgot. Yes.
Good job we've got a marketer in the room, isn't
it? So very quickly, I've got a very boring presentation here on how to increase your AI IQ. I'm pretending to be a trainer on AI, and I've got these 5 slides. I've heard of StreamAlive, and I've got an empty slide here that I want to add an interaction into. How do I do it? First thing, go into appsource.microsoft.com, search for StreamAlive, install the add-in, and once you have the add-in, go to the slide, insert the add-in. The first time around, it will encourage you to create an account and all that stuff if you don't have one already. If you have one, it'll encourage you to log in. I have an account and I'm logged in, and therefore it simply takes me in here, right? And at this point, I could insert an interaction right here, or I could simply say, read my last few slides and recommend an interaction. This is extremely powerful because what this does is reads my static slides, these boring slides, and says, hey, Lux, maybe let's look at the previous slide. We just talked about types of AI. It says it's a good time to ask people, how do you think different types of AI will affect your daily life or job? And I say, that's a great idea. Let me add that, right? Do I allow multiple responses? Do I want to show people's names? I can change a whole bunch of settings. Do I want a whoosh sound? Do I want to filter out profanity? And that's it. And once I'm ready here, right now it's connected to this session that we're running, and therefore it's going to read from here. But otherwise, I could have run a preview. I could have connected it to any session that I want, right? The other thing I think I missed, Peter, was how to disconnect from a session and connect to a session. So maybe we'll do that last.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of questions in the chat as well about that.
Oh, cool. So I shall...
Well, before you do that, should we just want to look at quick questions before we lose those questions, before you disconnect?
Oh, okay. Let me see if I'm still running it, because I might have gotten a little ahead of myself, and I think I had it here. All right, what do you do, Lux? Thank you, Peter, for the question. Was it app and using StreamAlive in Zoom? It's just the convenience of running everything within Zoom itself, but this PowerPoint add-in would not work in Zoom. So if you're using the PowerPoint add-in, you need to start from PowerPoint. The advantage of doing it within Zoom is, you don't have to share screen like I'm doing right now. It's going to open an instance of StreamAlive inside of Zoom, and you just share that Zoom window with your audience. So you don't leave Zoom at all. If you want that convenience, or you just want to quickly run an interaction, is the fastest and easiest way. Plus, if it's your meeting, you don't need to enter the meeting URL. It's automatically picked up from Zoom. So it makes a few things more convenient. It's just friction, candidly. It's also a little easier for webinars and meetings with authorization and everything, where StreamAlive is able to get those permissions directly from your account. Purchase a license. I've tried entering. What am I missing? Sorry about that. Can I request you to, here's what, if you can just email us at hi@streamalive.com, or if you just go to the help thing anywhere in the application, someone on the team will do a one-on-one onboarding session with you and make sure you're set up. I'm pretty sure it's something we should be able to sort out. So thank you for purchasing StreamAlive, using it. And hopefully it's just a little trick that you might be missing that we can help you with. So please get in touch with our team. Peter, if you can put the contact email for Dr. Andrew to reach us on. Yeah. Cost for a license, everything's up at streamalive.com/pricing. So if you go to our website and click on pricing, it's really a function of the number of commenters you have. I'll let you go through this in detail, but roughly If you go with an annual license, you're talking about $30 a month for up to 100 commenters. And if you want more bells and whistles, it's going to come to about $75 a month if you're buying an annual license. Right? Again, any questions, please reach out to us. Let's go back to the questions. Sorry, folks, going a minute or two over. Not yet working in Canva. So Canva, not yet there. We hope to do it down the line. Save interactions like templates and use across platforms. Absolutely. Everything you use is going to be saved in your web application as a presentation. So if you look at my, where is my dashboard? I have too many things open here. If you see my presentations, I have a whole bunch of things saved here, and I can use them today on Zoom, tomorrow on Teams, day after on Google Meet. So everything is indeed saved and kept inside your account. How-to videos, yes, we do constantly getting updated. And oops, did I answer cost for license? We covered that. Save interactions, we covered that. On Prezi, not yet, but when we do Gamma, that might extend to Prezi, so not too sure about that one. How-to videos, yes, just go to the Zoom and Teams section, and there should be a how-to video. It is getting changed right now for Teams because we're making a few modifications there, increasing the number of options. And I think I ticked something that was unanswered as answered. Can you show how to use the PowerPoint add-in? Oh, we just did that now, Tina, so that's perfect. All right, so last thing on how to connect with PowerPoint, I want to make sure I do that. I'm going to exit, and I'm going to show you what I did 2 minutes before this presentation. So before you folks so kindly joined us in today's session, this was what my screen looked like. It was ready to go. And all I did was, I could click on preview to see a simulation, but what I did about a minute before we started the session was I chose platform, I clicked on Zoom, and I simply said, this is the Zoom meeting where everybody is joining. And I said, add session. If you look at the gallery, you'll see StreamAlive join us back in this session in a second. The moment I click on start reading responses. So that's when I say, yeah, I'm ready, let's go ahead. And then it joins the session and is ready to take people's inputs and visualize that in real time. Right, so you should see StreamAlive in the session right now. And that's it. And I saw a question there on how it works with YouTube, and very quickly, it's almost exactly the same way. If I were running this on YouTube, I would simply say, do this on YouTube. I've already connected it to my YouTube channel. So it picks up right now, I'm actually live streaming this to YouTube, so I could connect it to this, and if someone were to type on YouTube, it will visualize that chat. So it's as simple as connecting it one time to your channel. It reads any live stream that you have running there, and then you just connect it to it. It's as easy as that. Yeah. Again, if you haven't already, please sign up for a free account, play around with it, get comfortable with it, invest about 20 minutes in getting familiar with the user interface, and then in a couple of hours, you should be an absolute expert. But trust me, your audience will thank you for it, because you can never look at a presentation or a session again the same way like you did before. So hopefully I've convinced you to try it out. Do join us for future sessions. We keep coming up with new features. This time we talked about dance. Next week, I don't know what we're going to demo. And we do it every Thursday on Teams as well. So stay tuned. The best way to stay on top of all those things is simply to go to streamalive.com. And if you look at the top, there is a link to our community and events, which will take you to all the events that we have on our calendar. And I hope to see you folks in future events as well. I can stay around for 5 minutes in case anyone had any questions. But otherwise, thank you so much for spending this part of your day with us. Thank you, everyone.